I think it's very interesting. The world seems to be changing somewhat, and MoDOT and other state DOTs and state agencies have really started to take an interest in trucking and what trucking has to say. They finally realized, I guess, that there's trucks out there on the highway, and that maybe it'd be good to hear from them and how to communicate with them and how to make things better with them. Just maybe.
Landline now. Welcome back. Lewie Pugh joins me now. Lewie, thanks for coming in.
Hey, it's always a pleasure.
Now, you recently attended the Missouri Commercial Motor Vehicle Strategic Workshop that was held in Jefferson City. Tell me more about that event and what it was about.
Yes, I did attend it, along with some other staff here at OOIDA. We were invited to come by MoDOT. I think it's very interesting. The world seems to be changing somewhat, and MoDOT and other state DOTs and state agencies have really started to take an interest in trucking and what trucking has to say. They finally realized, I guess, that there's trucks out there on the highway, and that maybe it'd be good to hear from them and how to communicate with them and how to make things better with them. Just maybe. So that's kind of what this was. This was a 2-day deal in Jeff City. It was very interesting. FMCSA was there. We were there. Missouri Trucking Association was there. The Missouri Dump Truckers were there. DOT, Missouri DOT, St. Louis DOT, Kansas City DOT. As far as enforcement, in Missouri Highways Patrol, for enforcement. Some training schools were actually there. A couple of big fleets were there. And then just, I guess, I hate to use the word bureaucrats, but I don't know what to say. Just some government employees and bureaucrats and stuff from the different departments at DOT and driver training and different stuff like that.
And, of course, for our viewers, listeners who don't know, we're located in Missouri. And OOIDA has a pretty good relationship with the Missouri DOT, right?
Yeah, and it's gotten a lot better thanks to my Heather Lubert. She's kind of over the safety. I don't know exactly her next title, but like the safety messaging and the boards and the stuff that you see out on the highway, she's kind of over that, and some of the DOT grants and stuff. So Heather actually reached out to us 2 years ago, I think now, and she said, hey, I've worked for MoDOT for all these years, and they promoted me into this position, and I don't know anything about trucks or trucking. And so she said you should talk to Missouri Truck, and she was reaching out to us. And to her credit, and I think it's good that she realized that what you know, you're a smart person if you don't know what you don't know. And she realized that, and she's came to our Truck to Success course and watched that. And she's been out here and talked to our board of directors. And she's had me involved in some things and some other people around here at OOIDA. So, yeah, she's reached out, and that's good, and for members and drivers and stuff. So kind of learning about trucking. And she tries to run things by us before they do it just to see what we think. So, hey, that's great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Who all spoke at this event?
There was a different amount of people. There was FMCSA, the people from the training schools. Miss Heather that I talked about spoke. Some of the training people and enforcement spoke. The head of FMCSA Drug Consortium came and spoke. So, and there were some people there about federal grants and stuff like that. It was a little bit of everything. But pretty much the whole idea of this was 2 days was to try to bring everybody from the commercial vehicle sector, both government and private, together so we could all talk about the improved safety of the highways in the state of Missouri.
And what was your role doing there and the ones who did go from OOIDA?
We were there. I mean, it was very open forum, so that was nice. I think there's 40 or 50 people there. And they, like, when the person would present, you were allowed to ask questions or give feedback. And there was just times they had sort of an open dialogue, because there was a couple just open, I don't know what they, just open session. They would bring up a topic, and just everybody who wanted to could talk. So, of course, we were there representing small business truckers and professional drivers. So that was kind of our take on it and what we spoke on.
Now, I know several topics were covered at this event. I want to go through a few of those. The first one was on problem identification and crash data. What was talked about during that?
Well, mainly they tried to get down into what's causing the accidents. And, of course, they put the charts up of how many accidents, truck accidents and stuff are in the state of Missouri. Because, again, this is pretty much all Missouri. They did have some federal facts there, which kind of align. But trying to drill down into what crash causations are and stuff like that. The problem is, as we all know, and it was echoed there as well, is there's just not good record keeping of that. For one, the way this town and the way this municipality does a crash and the way this one does is completely different. What this state does is different. And so that's one problem. I mean, the feds need to come up with a set standard. I know CVSA's been working on a crash. They've had a crash committee, I don't know, for probably 7 or 8 years now, I feel like, to come up with a uniform form and how it's filled out and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, a lot of it's left up to the officer or the municipality or the state or the agency, I guess you would say.
Now, driver training and testing was one of the other topics, and I know OOIDA talks about that a lot. What was the message during that talk?
It was kind of mixed, and I mean, we went back and forth because there was a lot of talk on truck training, but then we also got into just motorist training just here in Missouri, and I thought that it's appalling to me that if you take the driving test, the written part in Missouri to get your car driver's license, if you flunk it, you can take it twice a day, every day, till you pass it.
That's kind of terrifying to think about.
Yeah. So, I mean, and apparently from the folks who were there in the know in Missouri who oversee this, they said that's pretty much, that happens a lot. They'll have people come for a week or two, and they don't think they even read the book. They just
keep trying.
Just keep trying.
I chose C this time. I'm going for B.
And I'm assuming like I haven't taken my hazmat test for a CDL for a long time because I dropped it when I came in here. I mean, I still have my CDL, but I don't have the hazmat part. But it used to be if you got it wrong, I think it would tell you the right answer. So on the computer. Okay. So I suppose after a while, if you get it wrong enough, you kind of get an idea what the test is and stuff like that. But and anyway, and it's funny because that's like in statute or policy. It's like a policy thing. So the one question I asked is, and a lot of people are asking, it seems like that's a policy to be changed. How do we change policy in Missouri? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really require a bill or anything, I don't think. So, yeah, we're waiting to kind of hear back on that. But, yeah, that's kind of alarming because, again, going back to the crash stuff, they did say that most of the crashes are caused by cars. And then we get into this car stuff. And it's, but that was probably the biggest alarming thing, that you can do that to get your driver's license here in Missouri. But then they had trucking schools there. They were from technical colleges and stuff, and one private individual's trucking school and stuff. And then there was a big fleet trucking school from South Central Missouri that a lot of people probably have seen, a lease your trucks or some kind of thing like that. But anyway, with that being said, it was very interesting, and it seemed like, in my personal opinion, it just what we heard there as far as the community college and even the private college or the private driving schools there, I think they do probably a better job than the fleets do, which isn't popular. It was surprising when the fleet that was there said in 22 years since they started their school, they've trained 38,000 new drivers. They're a fleet of 8,000. So that's almost five times the amount of drivers that they've trained in 22 years. That's pretty scary, in my opinion. And that's not mentioning the people that they've hired that had experience that they didn't have to train. So, yeah. And they made a pretty big to-do that they train their drivers for 50,000 miles. They ride with a trainer for 50,000 miles. And so I asked the question, is the trainer in the passenger seat training, or is it just ran like a team deal? And they did say that for a week or two the trainer's in the seat, but then from then on it's pretty much ran like a team deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I don't really consider that training. I don't think most truck drivers do. If you can train sleeping, you're a pretty good trainer, I guess. And if you can learn by osmosis, good for you. So, and that's the only frustrating about stuff like this, because I don't think a lot of the state people who are there listening to this, and it's no offense to them or any but I don't think they think about things. They just hear, "Wow, 38,000! They're really doing a good job."
They don't understand the numbers.
Yeah, they don't look at the numbers. And Andrew King, that was with us, of course, works in our foundation, and Andrew's a number guy. So I know it was probably frustrating to Andrew as well, but that frustrates me at times. And I didn't, you could probably call a person out, but that's not the right forum, or that's not a forum for something like that to happen.
How good is it to be face-to-face with some of these truck driving schools, to be able to ask them questions and talk with them? Because do we have a lot of relations? Does OOIDA have a lot of relations with
Not
schools?
a lot, probably not as many as we'd like to have. We have had in the past, and unfortunately what's has happened in the past is they've kind of asked us to back away because it makes it harder on the recruiters to come, because we kind of arm the students with knowledge, and a lot of times they don't like them to have knowledge. So, but with that being said, it was very interesting. I did get very well acquainted with one gentleman from a school in north central Missouri, and he was a very good guy. He was a trucker for a long time. Him and another lady kind of set this program up through this community college. And he told me there's been quite a few people, he turns them away, doesn't let them. So good for him.
Yeah.
He's a firm believer that not everybody can do this job. So, yeah, and it was good talking to him. We had a really long, in-depth conversation that evening, actually, after the first night of the seminar or get-together or whatever you want to call it.
Now, there was a roundtable discussion about modernization and regulatory changes. How did that go?
It was really not a lot came from that. It was pretty quiet. I don't know. They talked about some of the new licensing, electronic stuff and stuff like that, but there wasn't a whole lot that came out of that stuff. That was the roundtable stuff. It was pretty good, some of it, but like I said, the whole modernization thing, they talked a little bit about ABs, and we kind of pushed back on some of the modernization of, using technology to lower your scores and stuff like that. That was talked about a little bit, but it was really pretty shallow, probably, which was a good thing.
Now, I noticed there was a lot of FMCSA people there, which we don't often hear from or have an opportunity to often speak with them. How did that go? Were you able to speak with any of them?
Yeah, it was very nice having them there. We spoke with all of them about certain things. The training was one thing we talked about with them. The Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse gentleman was there. We pointed out some of the problems and issues that our members have been having with the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, as far as like if a carrier doesn't get on there every so often, their profile gets erased and different stuff like that that's happening. We found out that some of these issues aren't really the clearinghouses and FMCSA's fault. It's some stuff some defensives and cybersecurity stuff that they've put into place, and it's just affected these things this way. And so since it came from higher up, it's taking them a little longer to work through and try to figure out. They are aware there's a problem. In fact, they actually sent us what they're telling. Like they have, if you call FMCSA's hotline for the drug testing consortium, they got some things they tell you to do and try, and they actually sent that to us for our drug consortium. So, because we have consortium members, and members who aren't in our consortium for that fact come in, but this way maybe we can tell them, and hopefully they won't have to call, because my understanding is they have very limited staff at FMCSA to answer these calls, so you can be on the phone for a long time.
How often do these workshops happen, and how important are they for associations like OOIDA to come together and be able to have these discussions?
This one here hasn't happened in like 10 or 12 years or longer, what they said, but they voted or discussed having at least biannually, if not annually. So yeah, I've been to a couple other, they have like biannually. So I mean, it seems like this is becoming more of a new trend, which is a good trend. And, I mean, it's very important for OOIDA and to be involved, and we try to get members involved as well, but it's very important, to get there, because if we're not there, they don't hear about the small business trucker. There was nobody there talking about small business truckers other than us and what they're going through and their problems.
All right. Lewie, thank you so much.
Thank you as always.